Okay, this tutorial is on tricked out rims that will fit your tricked out tires. So you always make the tires first, it's just a little bit easier. And then the rims are made to fit the tire. So, we made the outside dimension of our tire 48. We made the inside dimension 40. Now you can do whatever number you want inside of there. And so that means that the outside of my rim will have to be 40, and then build the inside any way you want. And I made these 22s, 22 wide. So if you don't know what you did, you can check. You can go back into the file and look and open up actually the two-dimensional drawing. But I want to show you an analysis tool bar that we have. Then you can actually go up to measure, and we can measure distance, length, all kinds of things, angles. I'm going to go to measure diameter, and I'm going to click on the circle here, and it says diameter of 40. So right on the drawing there, I can come up with a measurement that'll help me determine how big to make the rim. So then get out of this analysis, close out of this drawing, and we're going to start a new drawing, and this is going to be our tricked rims. Okay, so we're going to start this in a similar way that we did the tires. We're going to say extrude from the front, sketch view, and we're going to go 40. Don't make them 48 because they need to fit the tires. So 40, that's the outside of the rim. Then the inside of the rim is whatever you want. So again, you pick the number, and I'm going to say, how about 38? Let's see what that looks like. Is that too thin? It's okay. Alright, so we'll go with that. Now you might want to opt to make the wheel hub right now, but I'm going to hold off on that, and I'll show you why as I get into this. Now, you could make it now if you want. It just depends on what you're going for. So I'm going to go ahead and accept this. I'm going to go ahead and put in my 22s again, and there's my width. I'm going to go ahead and center this plane here. I don't know if I'm going to use it centered or not, but I'm going to go ahead and do that, and accept that. So there is the start of my rim. Now why didn't I make the hub? Well, because I don't want the hub to come out as far as the rim. I want it to come out part way. This is just the style of rim I'm going to try to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, extrude now from, well, you got a couple options, the back surface or this plane, or you could make a new datum plane or whatever you want to do. It's your drawing. And then go sketch view. And now I'm actually going to make the hub. And so, I'll just put this in here. This could be whatever size you want. I would recommend you use kind of whole numbers. It'll just make it a little bit easier for you to go back and figure out how big stuff is as you draw it. And when you accept that, you can see that it started here, and then I'm going to have it come out to the edge of the rim, which is half a 22 or 11. So everything I'm doing now, just remember, is just how I happen to be doing it right now, not necessarily what you have to do. So there's a lot of freedom now for you to just make this your own. So this is actually going to be the back of my rim, and this is actually going to be the front of my rim. So whether I picked front there or back, it doesn't matter, but as long as you know what you're doing. Okay, here's where things get a little tricky. And I'll kind of give you a basic way to do this, and then a little bit more advanced way also. We need to make some spokes on the rim here, and so you could click extrude, and you could click this surface if you want, and you could draw some kind of spoke right here, and then we could pattern that around, and you could make it pretty basic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use revolve, because I'm going to get a little bit more complex of a shape. So I'm kind of shooting for the moon here in terms of what the final product's going to look like. So I'm going to go revolve, and I'm going to click this plane right here, and then sketch view. Now I'm looking down on the rim, which might seem kind of confusing, but once you turn on your wireframe mode, you can see what you're looking at. Now I'm going to set some references. I'm not sure exactly where we're going with this, but here's the inside of the rim, here's the hub, here's that plane, here's the back of the wheel. I don't know what I'm going to use, so I'm going to set a lot of different things. And I'm going to make something that kind of looks angled. I'm kind of going for like an old IROC Z type of cool rim. So I'm going to go ahead and draw an arc in here. And I'm going to start it, let's see if it'll let me start it here. There, and pull it all the way to the center. And I'm going to have it come across here like this. Now, you might be thinking, why didn't you just bring it to there? Well, remember this is rounded. So I'm going to bring it farther in to make sure it makes a good connection there and I don't have part of it missing. And then I'm going to do another arc right here. And we'll just do something a little more subtle right here. Okay, and then remember, you're doing a revolve, so you have to have a closed object. So close it again. Okay, so I've closed it. I've got this closed object. I need a center line because I'm making this revolve. Okay, and let's look at where we drew. You know, I'm in this wireframe view, but you can see I drew on this top plane right here. Okay, if I go back to my shaded view, you know, there's my shaded rim. There's where I drew, and I'm going to accept this. Now, by default, it just spins it around 360 degrees. Now, I actually don't want to do that, so I'm just going to make kind of a pie-shaped piece of the rim here, and you can see that it's angled on the front. That was one thing I was looking for, and the fact that it's pie-shaped there. You know, and then I'm going to do some more with that. So this is the first step in this spoke, so I'm going to go ahead and accept that like that. Now you could just pattern this around and this could be your spoke. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut and remove some stuff on here as a kind of a second step to this to make it a little more complicated. So I'm going to say, okay, extrude from the front surface of the rim, sketch view, and I got to set some references. So I'm going to right click, reference, and say, okay, where's this edge, where's this edge, where's this edge, you know, all these different things. And then I'm going to do some goofy drawing on here to make it look kind of cool. So maybe I'll do a spline like this, and middle click to end your spline. Okay, and then maybe I'll do a spline. Let's see, let's do something like this, and bring that out to here, and middle click. Okay, and then I have to close this. Now you got to think about what you want to remove. I don't want to remove the inside. I want to remove the outside. So I'm actually going to come out here, and I'm going to go all the way up to here, and then close it out here. So that's actually what I want to remove. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to come straight down. I'm going to come over to here, and I'm going to remove that. So hopefully it's closed. And when I hit OK, good, it sees it as closed. It's adding material, right? So I want to, 1, switch directions and come all the way through. 2, I want to have it cut away all that material. So remove material, and you see what I'm left with? I'm left with this cool little shape, angled on the front, all spliny on the top and bottom, and there you go. So that's going to be the start of my rim right there. Okay, so now we got to pattern these things. So I'm going to start with the revolve, which was my first part of that feature. Right click, pattern, you know how to do this. Axis pattern, and you're going to get this axis. You're going to hit the angle button, number of copies. I'm going to go, I'm thinking 5, maybe 7. I don't know. Let's see what 7 looks like. Is that too much? Maybe it'll be alright. Then find this extrude 3, right click, pattern. Come up here, we're going to do an axis pattern. Find the axis again. It's running through the middle of the wheel. Angle button, 7 copies, and accept it. Look at that. I like them. Okay. Now you got to put some rounds and chamfers on to make these things look finished. So let's go up to round. Now it may limit, you know, how deep these rounds can actually go. So a lot of times the first number that it comes up with is something that will work. And it's going to take a little bit of time here to go through all these different edges. But as we go around here, it's going to look better and better. Just give me a minute. And then let's go ahead and round this. And let's make this smaller. 125. And then let's round the outside of that. and that's already 0.25 also. Okay, so let's add a round on. Is it gonna let me round this? No, so let's Control Z that last one. Okay, and accept this. Let's see what we look like. Ah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, nice. Okay, now we've got some facets here, some flat edges. Probably the way that I drew that. So if you wanted to round this, you'd have to come around and get every individual surface on that, or go back and edit your drawing and just make it a little cleaner as you did it. But that's looking pretty good already. Okay, so let's color this. Let's give it some actual material. Let's do like a polished chrome or chrome plate. That'll look good. And click on this plane here, hit OK. We got a nice chrome plate to that wheel. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and just round these out and end my tutorial, but you'll see that they're rounded for the next assembly of tires and rims.